I would then, I guess, I would put them as number 2 most likely to win behind UCLA. But I still think it's close to a 50-50.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
just because of all of the things going our way. They're going to come in abused.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Memorial Stadium.
Do we see
They're in Memorial Stadium on senior night with some pretty impactful seniors graduating.
That's true.
It's going to be an emotional building. And we've seen what we do during emotional times against.
He's gonna go! It's time, people, feel us!
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better! If we die, we die!
Man is pulling a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln!
Can't start a show without it.
Can't.
I can't do much without it.
As you might have noticed on the intro there, we are now going to finally announce, we've been teasing it for a little bit, but got some big news. We are now the Nebraska affiliate for the Fan First Sports Network, FFSN. They are...
Where's the cheer button?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here. Yeah. Do one of those. Throw one of these out there. It's big. It's exciting. It's something cool. As a lot of you guys know, if you've been around for more than a year, we started last season with Herdat, and it was a good experience. Just wasn't for us. And we've kind of been looking for the next way that we could partner with somebody out there to get a little more of a national exposure on things, and finally found it. So. FFSN is what used to be SB Nation, broke off from Fox Sports. They've got several of the other Big Ten schools out there.
Close to like half of the Big Ten out there.
Yeah, I mean, they're still growing. They were primarily all pro sports prior, and they've branched off into college football, and I think they've got like Iowa, Ohio State, Washington, Oregon, handful of other, like Rutgers is on there, I think.
You know, the people that matter.
But it's cool. So we'll probably have some, maybe like I don't think Indiana's got one, but I'll probably have somebody from the Ohio State show jump on with us, maybe jump on with them, sort of a thing. So we're super excited. We're super excited about
Lots of jumping.
It's just going to help us grow. We appreciate you guys. You've been with us for a long time. And if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button. Punch the like if you're excited by this news, and you'll be able to look up, there'll be one more place that you can find our show, as if you can't find it in enough places already, out on fanfirstsports.com. So check it out. But on to the second half of the show. That's our second half of the season. That's what we're here to preview. We already went through, if you haven't caught it already, we did a first half recap. We did a superlative show where we kind of talked about our biggest surprises, both good and bad, and our MVPs for the first half. And now we're going to do essentially what we did in the preseason, and game by game repick these, because there has been some freaking changes.
Well, maybe for some people.
Oh, get out of here. You did not pick Indiana to be 6-0 playing us.
I didn't say that. I was talking about for us as far as changes. I don't know how much I'm going to change, because we're about where I thought we were going to be. So
that's fair. I meant for the teams we're playing.
Okay,
There's been some changes.
Yeah, yep, you're right.
We know way more about what we look like now, too.
Yes.
Obviously, coming up this following week, we've got an away game at Indiana, big noon kickoff, kind of a big deal. Was really hoping maybe some voters wouldn't be so stupid and put a 3-2 Michigan and a 3-2 USC above us, and we'd be a top 25 team as well going into Indiana.
I still think we'll be ranked going into that game.
Do you think so?
After this next week, yeah.
With no play. You must be expecting some more drop-off, huh?
I mean,
that's what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks.
God,
so why not?
Texas moved up to number one with no play, so
that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, it helped that the number one team lost, but
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
After beating the previous number one team.
Yeah.
But Indiana's a team that, honest to God, I had as a lay-down Larry heading into this season. I did not think they were going to be worth a shit.
I was curious on them. They were one of the teams in our preseason show that I thought it was one of those teams that could gel and get better as the season goes on, because I really love Cignetti. I liked the players that they brought over from James Madison, the quarterback that they brought over from Ohio. I wasn't 100% sure. I'm not going to sit here and say that I thought they were going to be 6-0 by any means whatsoever. I don't care how easy or hard their schedule is. But
very easy.
Yes, you're right.
You guys are going to sit here and talk, and then I'm going to laugh at you both. That's fine.
But I was curious as to how they were going to be able to gel so quickly with a bunch of guys that were played at a lower level and then stepping up to the Power 4 conferences. So I'm not completely surprised that they are playing well. I'm surprised that they're 6-0 and playing as well as they are.
That's fair.
Guys, they have not fucking played anybody
They haven't played anybody.
This is their first real test on the year.
But they've done what they've needed to do.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
You're right. They've absolutely done what they needed to do. And they look way better. Eye test says they're a good team.
They haven't played anybody, but they've dominated everybody that they played.
Yeah. FIU, WIU, UCLA. Who is
Charlotte?
Yeah. Is that who that is? Great. They have an airplane on their logo.
I think they play at the airport.
Their biggest test is a Maryland team who
took a massive step back this year.
Reasonably average without a real quarterback this year. And so, yes, they are playing well. Yes, they deserve to be ranked where they are. They're not ready for what's coming into their house.
We'll see
in a couple of weeks.
I think on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to absolutely wreck shop. That's just my personal opinion on that.
They're not going to sniff.
We also have
points.
not seen an offense like Indiana yet this year.
So. No, we haven't.
They're not going to sniff 40 points.
No. I don't. This is not going to be a shootout type game. I think, if anything, Indiana is going to have to do the same thing that Indiana's done in. I mean, if you've watched any of their games, if you're watching any of their games so far, Indiana has been doing this play a close game until like 6 minutes left in the game. And then all of a sudden they score 3 touchdowns out of nowhere. And then it looks like they blew a team out. That Northwestern game very easily could have been Northwestern winning that game halfway through the fourth quarter.
Well, they blew out UCLA well before 6 minutes left in the game.
That's fair. We're also talking about potentially the worst team in the Power 4.
Well, it still also might have been their best team that they played all season.
Yeah. Well, Northwestern, I think, was probably.
Northwestern is garbage.
You're right. You're making your case for
both hot garbage.
Saying.
Regardless, they're not, in my opinion, they've looked good so far. Like Matt said, they have not played anybody. This is going to be their first true test. Maybe they beat us. Maybe they are actually this good. But I think they're a paper tiger. I think they're full of shit right now. And we're going to take it in there, and Tony White's going to shit all over their chest. That's me.
I will give the rest of my opinion next week for our preview show.
I am definitely taking Nebraska to win that game at Indiana on Big Noon kickoff. Joel Klatt's going to be slobbering all over Matt Rhule.
And Dylan Raiola. He does that a lot.
Oh, yeah. He loves Dylan Raiola.
Jed, who are you taking?
Oh, Indiana's going to win that game.
Oh, okay.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm taking Nebraska.
I picked Indiana to win the game at the beginning of the season. So
You did?
We'll find out.
I don't recall this.
I had us at 5-2 going into the Ohio State game.
I thought that was because of a loss to Colorado and Rutgers.
No.
He also was 50-50 pick a couple of games to lose.
That's true.
He didn't want to commit on anything.
He said that on Illinois, too, and that was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Ohio State, I think we all still feel the same way about this one.
Yeah.
I think
it's going to be a closer game than we thought at the beginning of the year.
I was just going to say I felt a little bit better about it from a standpoint of watching Iowa play them last week. They really did shut down Iowa's offense, which if they do the same thing to us, Iowa's offense is better. They're not as good as what ours is this year.
I was going to say, can you really say Ohio State shut down Iowa's offense?
I mean, when you look at it, though,
Iowa shuts down
did
Iowa's
Iowa
offense.
start up Iowa's offense?
as much
You can't turn the engine off if it's already still cold.
As much as it looks like Iowa's offense is that far behind us, they're actually only averaging 1 point less on the season than we are.
I know it.
And they're much improved over where they were last year. And I would say that the disparity between where our offense is and their offense is compared to the disparity between where their special teams is and where ours is, that makes me a little more nervous for it being a closer game. We're still only getting like a 5% chance to win that game. I think that's about accurate.
What?
So you're saying there's a
you're
chance.
saying the Ohio State game.
Yeah. As far as like football power index shit, SBI stuff, I think we're all in agreement that's going to be a loss there.
Yes.
But again, closer game than we thought.
But I think in the same way that we all think it's going to be a loss on Ohio State, we also think UCLA is the worst team on our schedule this year other than Northern Iowa.
And Purdue.
Do you think they're
University of Tep, guys.
I keep forgetting about that one. Oh, so long ago. UCLA looks dog shit awful.
Yeah, they're really
They're struggling.
They have been rough. I think it speaks a lot to what Jed always talks about. You have to have some head coaching experience before you're going to take a big boy job. This is one of them. Right there. It looks bad.
And they're just flying all over the country still. And they have to come into Memorial Stadium. It's not going to be a fun game for them.
Yeah, the UCLA job is kind of one of those borderline jobs as far as my whole thing of having experience going to quote-unquote blue bloods. I'm not 100% sure UCLA is still a blue blood, but they're still one of the name programs in college football.
They're also a Big Ten school.
Yeah.
Like
but
that's a big thing
so
for
is
me.
Northwestern,
Yeah,
and
I
that
was
doesn't
gonna
count.
That's fair.
So,
Also,
I mean, they play at a high school stadium.
They've been a Big Ten school for half a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Like, calm down on that one.
yeah, but I did not understand that hire of Deshaun Foster. That is going to be that's going to set that program back so fucking badly. But yeah,
And they already weren't.
was.
Yeah.
And they don't have any money to climb out of the hole.
no, they don't.
So I don't know about you guys. I'm chalking that game up as a
Yeah,
win.
absolutely.
Yeah, big time.
I would be shocked if
That's
it's
my
anything.
That's my only surefire guarantee win on on the rest of the season.
My only thing on that is if we're coming off of a rough loss, that could be an interesting first half. It might be a very close game in the first half just because team's kind of down. We'll see where their morale is at.
Mhm.
If we play Ohio State close and then we lose to Ohio State, we're going to rock UCLA like they shouldn't have gotten off the bus.
I don't agree with you because the only real dick kicking that we've taken so far under Matt Rhule was, and I'm not talking about our own dick kicking because we did a lot of that last year, but our own really real solid loss was against Michigan last year. And the result following that was what happened at Illinois, which is really what turned a lot of everyone's imagination about last year's season.
Yeah, I think that's a one-time thing, though.
I
think we all already are feeling that we're a better team than we were going into that Michigan game last year. And I don't think you need that same pick me up Sunday practice, rah rah, we're still all in this together thing, because you're better than that now.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be take the L, get back to work, not let's turn this thing around, because there's not going to be anything to turn around. You just get beat by a better team.
Might be right. Might be right. Either way, I'm taking that one, and I will take whatever points they're trying to put on us. USC is going to be a different game than I expected it to be. I don't think that I look at it as any more of a win or a loss for us than I expected.
I'm confused
but I look
by
at it
their
way
team.
different.
I agree.
Yes, they looked like world beaters until they played Michigan, and Michigan still looked like a world beater until they played USC. And then both teams simultaneously in that game just tried to figure out how to lose it. It was a great game. It was a fun game to watch, but they both lost that game as much as they possibly could. And then you saw USC really, really struggle with Wisconsin in the first half, and then somehow the offense just exploded in the second half and took over. And then they go play Minnesota at Minnesota and just shit the bed.
Yeah, the thumb with two thumbs snuck how to win up there.
After throwing
No,
a
the
giant
dick
temper
with two
tantrum.
thumbs.
Whatever.
Yeah,
the dick with
thumbs.
two dicks, according to BJ.
He threw an absolute temper tantrum. He was right about the call, even though the call never should have been overturned because he couldn't see the ball. They took that loss to Minnesota, and that is awful. That was an awful loss for them because that is an awful Minnesota team that has 2 wins on the season, and one of them is that game.
USC, for me, is the team that I have the most questions about still halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And one of the weird
I don't know, Wisconsin, I think, is still there.
one of the weird things with the USC stuff is, and I heard this, and I don't remember the exact number, but I heard this right before the Michigan game again with USC. They have not won a game in the Central or Eastern time zone since like 2010 or some stupid fucking number.
What?
Like even when they go play like Notre Dame, they haven't won in a long time. I don't remember the exact year, but they have not won in the Central or Eastern time zone in
Because they're used to playing at 9 o'clock at night.
In
the
like
Central
They
Time
need to
like
go
Zone.
play
20
Florida
games.
State or something.
That's crazy.
yeah.
Holy shit.
That's a crazy stat.
And the fact that they went to Minnesota, obviously Central time zone, and still fucking lost. Like,
That's a crazy stat.
yeah,
I think I'm still trying to pick that as a win for us. But that one's going to be my 50-50 in this back three.
yeah. I honestly, I think these last three are all 50-50s in my opinion. The USC game is going to be tough. I agree with the first thing you said, Matt, as far as I'm so confused by USC.
But they
'cause
just don't make sense.
I was actually impressed with how they played against Michigan.
Yeah.
When they played them. I mean, yes.
I was too until the last 2 or 3 minutes.
But I guess I'm saying that I was impressed how they played Michigan because of the expectations
What you thought Michigan
coming.
was?
Well, no.
Because they also look worse.
No, I'm talking about going into the season, what everybody thought about USC and their defense. They actually played physical, both
they
on
did.
offense
Well,
and on defense.
I'm looking even further back at the LSU game where they looked very good on
Mhm.
both sides of the ball.
But LSU
Yeah.
is also proven to not be as good as they were expected to, too.
Agreed. All I'm saying is the first few games they looked really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 games they've looked like fucking
Second half of the Wisconsin game, they looked
UCLA
electric.
could go in there and give them a run for their money. So I just don't know
Yeah.
who they are right now.
I guess my biggest thing about this USC game is, and we talked about this, or I brought this up on one of our, I think it was the Superlative show. I'm not as big on our secondary as far as specifically the safeties. And considering their USC's passing games and the weapons that they have on the outside, that scares me. So I would probably put this closer to a loss than a win for us, but it's gonna be a really tough game
I will say this.
for both sides.
We're going to learn a lot about them over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to go get their asses handed to them by Penn State.
Mhm.
And then
They're at home against Penn State.
doesn't matter.
I'm just saying, yes, they're going to get their ass handed to them at home
It
against
is bad.
Penn State.
And then Maryland,
CBS,
Rutgers,
middle of the
Washington,
afternoon.
those are all 3 teams where I see as relatively I think we're better than a couple of them. I think we're relatively in the same boat.
Competitive.
If USC struggles in any of those games, I'm going to feel pretty good about
Mhm.
Nebraska's chances going into that game.
Yep.
The Rutgers one's going to tell me a lot. Because I think Rutgers' defense is the most similar to ours of any of them that are on their schedule.
Yeah.
That and Michigan's.
And so this is a coin flip for me. Currently, I'm going to take USC as the winner, but it's just because I don't know them.
Yeah.
And halfway through the season, I don't know.
As far as Wisconsin goes, this is the one that's still the most confusing to me because they've looked great in a couple halves. They looked amazing in the first half of the USC game. They looked really, really good and then just absolutely shit the bed. They seem to have no cohesive idea amongst their staff about what kind of a football team they want to be. Am I wrong about that?
No.
No,
Like
you're-
when you watch the games, and I don't know how many Wisconsin games you guys watch, their offense looks confused because half the time they look like they want to be the Wisconsin that everybody expects them to be, and the other half it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying right now?
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of the Scott Frost era to me, where game by game you just don't know what kind of an offense they're trying to be. You remember we talked about a lot 3 or 4 years ago. We don't have an offensive identity.
Mhm.
That's what they seem like right now, which is the opposite of what their offensive coordinator was brought in to do.
Yeah.
I think they're figuring out that offense isn't going to work in the Big Ten.
No. Well,
And it hasn't even gotten cold.
which is why I was worried about the whole Luke Fickell thing up at Wisconsin. For Wisconsin, I don't give a shit. You guys could lose every goddamn game you play.
I hope they lose every game.
Yeah, no, I do too. I'm just talking about if I was a Wisconsin fan, I would have been very worried about bringing in Phil Longo as our offensive coordinator in this conference, and also switching so drastically from what they've always done to what they want to try to do now. There's a lot of people around here that are bringing up that basically Luke Fickell is the Bill Callahan of Wisconsin, where just trying to put a square peg in a round hole. situation, which is what Bill Callahan did from the very beginning. He's like, nope, we're going to do our system from right away, and we're no transition. Let's just figure it out, and it didn't work.
It's strange to me, too, because it's not like he's a stranger for what Wisconsin was.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great coordinator for Ohio State
He was
for a
also
long
a Big
time.
Ten player.
Yeah.
Like, he knows the Big
But
Ten.
I mean, even more recently than that. Like, he was a major
saying.
coach playing Wisconsin on a yearly basis. It's weird to watch.
Yep.
Especially since I thought Fickle was going to be a great hire.
I did too.
I would have been happy with him at Nebraska. Now I'm seeing it. Still think we're winning on that.
Yep.
The other side of the coaching thing there. Did you guys see what Braylon Allen tweeted out during the end of that USC game? What the fuck?
He's not the only one. There's a handful of former Wisconsin players that are tweeting like crazy, talking about how bad their experience was last year.
Well, and it's crazy to me because if you remember, he was a guy that came out and said if what's his name, the former Wisconsin
Jim
D coordinator,
Leonard.
yeah, if Leonard didn't get the job, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then Fickle came in and convinced him to stay.
Yeah.
And then for that to come out, like, and he said he's going to talk on some podcast coming up here soon where he's telling the stories, and that might get spicy. That might get spicy. You see Wisconsin drop this game to us and a couple other games that they probably thought they should have won this year, at least coming into the season. Fickle's seat's going to get hot pretty quick. They've been quick to get rid of guys.
Years, but
Yeah. He's guaranteed at least one more.
It'll
for
start
sure,
to
in my
get
opinion.
warm, at least after this year. Yeah.
So they're going to have a decent time with Rutgers, I would think. They're going to beat Northwestern, and then we're going to be their sloppy fourths over their next few games.
Oh, yeah. I remember talking about this preseason. They go on a sled right here.
They're taking Penn State. They're taking Penn State in Penn State. And Penn State at home. Sorry. They're at Iowa, which is always difficult to do, and then taking Oregon at home, and then they come to us in Memorial Stadium. We have a lot of things stacked in our favor. They might be injured by the time they get into Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking for this game?
That's going to be tough.
Still strictly 50-50. Because the thing is, they're also still adjusting to their bringing in the new quarterback, Braden Locke. I mean, the last game he played really well. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to continue to get better, but as the season goes, they might figure something out. I don't fucking know, but I'm still going to put this as a 50-50 game because it's fucking Wisconsin. We don't beat Wisconsin.
Yeah, I don't think that applies anymore. We'll find out. My of the back half slate here. This would be my third best chances of winning.
Probably, I would.
In my opinion,
I would agree with that.
I would put Indiana second, only behind UCLA, and then Wisconsin.
Well, actually, no, I would then, I guess, I would put them as number 2 most likely to win behind UCLA. But I still think it's close to a 50-50.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
just because of all of the things going our way. They're going to come in abused.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Memorial Stadium.
Do we see
They're in Memorial Stadium on senior night with some pretty impactful seniors graduating.
That's true.
It's going to be an emotional building. And we've seen what we do during emotional times against Colorado earlier this season.
Our fans also have gone up to Wisconsin and been treated like shit, and they like to do their jump around and all their fancy stuff. That's going to be a night game at Memorial Stadium.
Nebraska feels like a winner in this game.
It won't be a night game.
You don't think so? No. Why not?
I don't care.
Why do you think it won't be a night game?
Taking this
Why would it be?
if we played at 3:00 in the morning?
Because
it's going to be a really bad Wisconsin team. They're not putting that game at night.
Well, maybe so. Maybe so, but I'm taking it as a win.
100%.
Which, if you guys are paying attention, has us rolling 9-1, or 9-2 into Iowa
For you.
Well, for you.
for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's right though. That's what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Sure. Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, just like us going 7-0 to start the season.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like you said at the beginning of the year.
Yep. You're doing great, guys.
Um,
You're doing great, guys.
I think
More
the
likely 83, but
Iowa
whatever.
game. I think the Iowa game is going to be a clinic, but that's going to be where my cliffhanger is because I'm going to go to Matt on this one first.
It's a night game this year. Am I right?
Yep,
Yeah.
6:30 for the first time ever.
In Kinnick?
Yep.
Yep.
That's it. Nebraska's better than Iowa this year. They're gonna have a real hard time winning that game.
I was gonna say you brought up all the emotion stuff
Yeah, exactly.
for the Wisconsin game being in Memorial Stadium,
Plus,
senior
every
night.
single year we
all
think
that
it's gonna
stuff.
be what's his name's last year because he's old as shit.
Yep.
So that's a tough win for me,
Mhm.
especially when we most likely are not playing for anything outside of a bowl game after that. They might be still fighting for their lives. I don't know. What are they? 3-2
they're not
right
going
now.
to. They're 3-2, and their toughest game that they have left on their schedule is Washington.
Okay.
Besides us,
Both teams are going to be playing to go get turkey when they're done.
Yeah.
And I don't. That game is as much of a coin flip as anything.
Yes,
For me. It's in Iowa's favor because it's at night in Kinnick.
it's a 50-50 game, just like I said for the last previous other two games that we just got done talking
For the
about.
last 10 years.
Well, that's what the Iowa game is. It's a 50-50 game. No matter how good you think we are or they are or whatever else, whoever's rolling going into that game, hell, the game when Iowa was undefeated going into that game, and we were obviously not good because we haven't been good for many years.
but we got up
Still a
what,
50-50
25
game.
nothing on them.
and we probably should have won that game. So it really doesn't matter who's rolling where, when. That game's going to be tough.
Yep.
Period.
Under the lights in Kinnick is tough to win no matter who you are. You could be Ohio State. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. But I think that Iowa leans on their run game to make their offense go this year, and they're not going to be able to do that against us. I'm taking Nebraska to win this game and to be 10-2, like I predicted preseason, exiting and looking at a hope and a prayer of getting a playoff berth.
So you said that
8
they're
wins.
not going to be able to run against us, but they have the only guy that's rushed for over 100 yards against Tony White's defense in Nebraska.
Yep.
Okay.
Whatever.
Gets to see him a second time.
As we all know, BJ is phenomenal at picking things ahead of time. So
Oh,
Are you picking a loss on
I'm
this
sorry,
one?
I'm sorry. You mean Mr. 11-1 that you predicted last year?
No, he was 12-0, remember?
Whatever.
No, it was
No,
11-1.
he had the
'cause
one loss to
I was
Michigan.
paying attention
Oh,
to
that's
Michigan.
right, that's
I was
right.
also drunk as fuck. So whatever.
I'm not drunk. I
Yeah.
am sticking to the
He's
same
doing the
schedule.
shit sober.
I'm sticking to the same exact record that I predicted preseason.
I am too. I'm still
Um,
sticking at 7-5. So.
And you know what?
I'm still at 8-4. We're all riding our
when
way.
Nebraska is
Yep.
looking at the possibility of getting accepted into the playoff for the first time, y'all motherfuckers will be laughing your ass.
I'll be laughing at you, but not for that reason.
You do realize we're halfway through the season and not currently ranked.
I get it.
Okay.
We're
Just
just
making sure.
outside, though.
Yeah, just outside.
Votes for 27th.
Oh.
With 3-2 teams ahead of us.
Oh, boy.
Bullshit, Wisconsin and
Polls.
USC.
Polls don't mean dick. I don't care.
Well, they get you in.
All
Not
right.
these polls.
If you're a fan of the Huskers, if you're a fan of our show, like, subscribe, follow, share. We appreciate you guys.
Even if you're not a fan, do it anyway. Go Big Red.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.